Hello YouTube, the Gun Nut here. It's another great day to be an American. Let freedom reign. Today I'm doing a short video to show you guys some results that I received recently when shooting some hand loads in my 22-250 Savage 12FV. So a quick information about the gun. This is a very inexpensive varmint rifle. It's a heavy barrel, 26 inches long. It's a Savage 12FV. Cabela's carries them, and sometimes you can get them as low as around $300, which I think I picked up this one up for. It has the AccuTrigger. This particular gun has a blind magazine. I believe it holds 4 rounds, and it has a Mueller 8-32 power scope. And I have these mounted in Leupold rings. So the hand loads I was firing, I recently picked up some Lapua brass. So I wanted to try out some of this Lapua brass with some rounds that I knew already were pretty decent in my gun with Hornady brass. So I worked up loads just to make sure I was going to be on the safe side for pressure. The bullet we used for these loads were the 52 grain hollow point bowtail from Sierra. There you can see the hollow point bowtail from Sierra, 52 grains. And I used Hodgdon H380 powder. The Winchester large rifle primers for the primers. Here's a completed round. This is in the Lapua brass. The marking is for me to remember how much the charge level was. And I loaded up 9 rounds at 38.4 grains of H380, 8 rounds at 38.8, and 8 rounds at 39.2 grains, with the idea being I was going to shoot 2 groups with each, and one with over the chronograph, one group before over the chronograph, and then saving one group for longer range. Well, my plans were thwarted a little bit when I had a chronograph issue at 38.8, and I ended up needing to fire 5 rounds just to get 3 rounds worth of data. So, unfortunately, I only had 3 rounds left at the 38.8 grain level. And so these were rounds I'd tried in my 22-250 before. I just had used Hornady brass instead of Lapua. I started out the day of shooting with 3 rounds to warm up the barrel with Hornady 55 grain VMAX factory loads. Those 3 shots went into 0.98 inches. And I'm pretty sure that one was definitely me. The next group was the first group of hand loads. So this was with 38.4 grains of H380. 3 shots went into 0.71 inches, and the fourth opened it up to 1.77 inches. So that first load level was certainly not the accuracy I was looking for. But who knows, that shot could have been me. Average velocity was 36.14 feet per second, extreme spread of 32.38, and a standard deviation of 15. The next group was, I ended up being 5 shots, as I stated, because of chronograph issues, and I had 4 of those 5 shots, and it was the first 4, going to 0.38 inches. So you can actually see there is 2 bullets into the same hole there. The 4th shot had opened it up to 0.92 inches. But I did state that I was rushing that just to get chronograph data, and I knew I was going to screw that group up. 38.8 grains. Again, I only got three shots for chronograph, but those 3 shots gave me an average velocity of 36.95 feet per second, extreme spread at 24.83, and a standard deviation of 12.64. Moving on to the last group, and that was with 4 shots at 39.2 grains of H380. It went into 0.69 inches, so not too bad. A little bit of vertical stringing. At 39.2 grains, we had an average velocity of 36.91 feet per second, extreme spread of 39.42, and a standard deviation of 16.4. So we did see standard deviation go up a little bit, as well as extreme spread, and the average really was actually slightly lower, which is a little bit odd, but it could be a nice plateau where you're not going to have much velocity change with small increments in powder. So I went back to my data to look at how did this do with the Hornady brass. So comparing the same load levels, 38.4, I had average velocity of 36.35 compared to 36.14. Standard deviation of 6.92 compared to 15. Now keep in mind, the Hornady brass was already once fired when I had these loads, or maybe even twice fired, so it was already formed to my chamber. And we had 3 of those shots going to 0.27 and 4th at 0.83 compared to putting, we had the 4th at 1.77. So accuracy-wise, definitely not as good results that day. 38.8 grains with the Hornady brass with an average velocity of 3660 and a standard deviation of 8.06. So we had, with the Lapua brass, higher velocity at 3695 with a standard deviation of 12.64. So again, standard deviation was a bit higher, as well as the velocity. And we had 4 shots going to 0.64 inches. And I had 4 shots, if I throw out that 5th one, going to 0.38 with Lapua brass. And then at 39.2 grains, we had the average velocity of 3721 with a standard deviation of 3. Whereas with the Hornady brass, their average velocity was 3691 and a standard deviation of 16.4. So with the Lapua brass, it definitely didn't look as good for standard deviation. So probably not enough data here to be conclusive, and plus not really a fair comparison with the Lapua not yet being fire formed. But that is the data, and I wanted to share it with you guys. The conditions for that day, we did shoot at 100 yards. We were shooting at about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cloudy with 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. Looking at the brass, at the low end at 38.4, I don't see anything to be concerned about. At 38.8, I also, again, don't really see anything to be concerned about. And at 39.2 grains, maybe just a little bit more flattening, but I think it's kind of inconsistent. So I don't really see anything to be concerned about there either. Although, like I said, I think I'm going to go with that 38.8 grain load level to load up some more rounds for further evaluation. So those were the results that I was able to achieve, shooting 38.4 to 39.2 grains of H380 in Lapua brass with Winchester large rifle primers behind a Sierra 52 grain Mash King bullet in my Savage 12FV. I hope you guys found that video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. You guys be safe out there.